Welcome back, everybody, here to the CSGO Championship Series. I'm Tubby1, joined by Sadicist.
Not the Sadicist this time.
Well, you know.
I've been stripped of my title already.
You have.
It was good while it lasted.
Well, we could always try, like, Lord Sadicist, Dame Sadicist.
I'll take it. My initials are MJST, which is Majesty, so Lord works. We'll go with it.
We'd love you to move away from your ego here. Do you need more camera space? You need more camera space.
No, I mean, I'll take it if you're going to give it to me.
No, you can't have it.
No,
you can't
go back.
Get out.
All right,
get out of here. Get out of here.
Fine.
Come on, man. This is meant to be my CSGO break.
All right, so we're moving to Dust2. We just saw a great performance from TSM and a bit of a no-show from NaVi. Again, I said the rounds they got were based on, in my opinion, defensive errors from TSM, and we never saw their CT side get to come online. I'm really interested to see how they're going to play it with Flamey, if they're going to be a little bit more aggressive than they have been in the past. Dust2 favors that. It actually gives you that opportunity to run 3 out A at the start, take that early fight at long doors, which would be your first point of contention, and then fall one immediately back into mid. Have your op as your sort of your third player back to cover cat if you want. That's the way I prefer it. A lot of guys like have their AWP up front to take that door fight. I prefer the rifles there. But it's going to be really interesting to see how they choose to go about it, because we didn't even get a taste of what Flamey fits into their CT side based on what we just saw.
It's true. Like he was finding a lot of kills, but that's also because he's part of like the entry team, like the second guy always coming in behind. And so that was kind of nice. It's just like, you know, what are you doing? You're the new guy. Just stick in the middle of the pack, walk with us, and shoot anyone you see.
And, well, that was the other thing that you made. That's a good point that you kind of touched on, that they got entries in the last game. They found entries. TSM was just really good on their rotations and really good on their retakes, so NaVi couldn't sustain any sort of site presence once they had made that initial
I kind of almost want to flag the retakes even more, because that was for me what really won it for TSM in the early rounds. They committed heavily onto the A side. Inferno was just like, you know what, we're okay with this. Like, we know we can take the B, because they made sure they got control of at least the other parts of the map. So they controlled the mid Inferno, they control second mid, which means then you can control up the banana, the bottom of banana, and basically funnel NaVi into a corner. How they do that here on Dust2, now that's a bigger question, because you can't really get an easy, quick retake onto the B side. You're having to walk up against the guys who have the high ground into a very defensive position. Unless you're able to control the mid or dark once they go in, even then you're still having to go through these 3 funnel points to retake the B side. It's not a simple task unless you got flashes or smokes available to you.
Yeah, no, it's a very clear-cut map in that regard. And again, the meta in CSGO, more so than in previous iterations of Counter-Strike, has to do a lot with smokes in mid onto B, mostly because of how quick you are on your entries, how much faster the game plays based on Peeker's advantage in certain situations, based on just straight-up movement speed. So I think that the hybrid mid style is what I really like to see, where you're playing one directly in that B site. You play that early 3A if you want. You have one directly in mid, and then your third player from A falls to help you with that crossfire. Happy's really good at it with Envy. When he gets up on top of the box, they come through, they smoke it off. He's just above the smoke. He'll let, usually I believe it's Shocks, play on the other side of that mid, take the initial fight, and then he just mows them down. So see another knife round. We'll see if we get to see another magical performance here from Device.
Yep, as they all get to knife on long. There's a couple of the boys who are left behind, however. That was Device, so there is still one last hope now for Team Solo Mid. And potentially he can do it, because all the CTs are at 45 HP. So if he can funnel them, if NaVi are willing to walk into the funnel area, then he could get on top of this. They're waiting for it. And there's one. There's 2. Oh, not again. And there's 3. Device will wrap it up, and Team Solo Mid will take the CT side. And once again, it's all down to the clutch. That's actually a forfeit, I believe, for that one too.
Never, ever give that man a knife. Which
knife is he walking around with? It's the Sapphire.
Look, they're even laughing about it.
Your eyes are like sapphires. Device.
I'm not. Yeah, if Ecom shows up to a party with a knife, everyone in that room is dead. That guy is utterly insane.
Remind me to tell you the story when I once almost got shanked.
I'm not now. Yeah, we'll do that later.
Good New Year's Eve party.
Oh, really? That one came in with style.
Went out with not much style, though.
So the bad news is, again, for NaVi, that they're not going to get comfortable. They're not, again, I said Dust2, it's not as important. I kind of want to change that statement based on what we just saw in that 16-4. Normally, I would say, yeah, Dust2, not a big deal, whatever. Start whichever side you want. It's going to even itself out. It's the most balanced map, arguably. After getting beat 16-4 on a map like Inferno, now it's a little bit different for you because you never really got anything going momentum-wise. You never really got much going just in terms of teamwork and how we see their defense is going to play. This is interesting. Yeah, this is a whole new split screen. I like it. You're not strong enough. Oh, you did it. Look, wow, Australian strength. Crocodile Dundee.
Pasha, I'm coming for you.
But the point is, if they get that easier side on CT now, if they actually get that opportunity to start out on the easy side, just strictly based on getting back into this mentally, it would have helped them a lot more. So now I would say, just strictly on what we saw in Inferno, it does make a bit of a difference.
Yeah. So NaVi, they need momentum, they need hype, they need something beautiful here to give them the confidence to go up against TSM. And KGB's already looking to take away that confidence, pushing very aggressively up into that short A. Edward at least opens up now up against Sipnix. That's over on long A, and A is most definitely the primary target. Device isn't going to make it easy for them because they've just lost their floater over on B. In fact, they don't even get the mid. They cannot control short. They're jumping up. Zeus as well as Kerrigan having a bit of a battle. Device wants to get the control back. The plant is down into a 2-on, well, 3 HP, 3 on 3 HP situation. Can we say that? That'll work. Yeah.
3 HP. I get what you mean.
Yeah. Technically a 3-on-3, but not the way you think. But there's no real way he can take care of this. Like, there's no defuse kit. There was no nothing. So first round go the way of NaVi, a much needed round, as we were saying.
Yeah, and they didn't get the pissed around in the last map that we saw in either side, so already an improvement. Again, I said they would need a very good start on Dust2, specifically after getting trounced on Inferno. This is the start of it. Guardian's going to go straight for the scout. We'll see him pick down mid, see if he finds anyone crossing over. But they can't get eco. If they get ecoed here, I'm going to say the map's over. I just don't see them being able to pull themselves together. But Edward's down. This is already starting off wrong.
Yeah, at least that nade's able to do some damage there to Cajun.
And again, that came from a 3A presence off spawn. So watch for that all night. TSM's very good and very dynamic at playing with each other on the CT side. So I want to see it from them. Zeus responds, though. Kerrigan's down. That'll help things out. They still need to find some presence. They've got up Catwalk as a result of these players pushed out. C's now going to catch out Zipnix, so they'll get a bomb plant here. And I don't think a retake's going to be possible just based on the fact that A is so vast and you're up against rifles.
This is probably that time when I'm not feeling Team Solo mid is rotating as quick. Like the calls are coming a little bit later because they're not finding the information. So either it's just the calls are late or the information is not being received. That one player that's watching up through mid, knowing when they're pushing in. Because both Device as well as Dupree were very, very late to the party. And their floater on long A. Like Dupree, well, with Device's help, they're trying to get at least one pick-off up here against NaVi. It is, of course, eco, so we can't read too much into it. In fact, like, they lost one player for NaVi, and that's going to remain as just one player. So it's really not a bad eco for them. For Team Solid Mid, that is. I don't think...
It was reasonable. No, it could have been. They tried to look for those exit kills when they came out long at that point, but they didn't find they got one kill, obviously, we saw, but they didn't get what they were wanting. They wanted to actually try and have Device bait them out the doorway with Dupree just sitting there directly beside it, but unfortunately Dupree got spotted a little bit too early, so it didn't work out where they got more than one. Oh, careful. Did he just drop that bomb up on top of the box, not behind it?
I don't know, man, but I'm watching Edward get a 3 on the long A. And Guardian, they won't even give a crap about getting that plant down because they've managed to win it. No, the bomb was down the ground.
Yeah, it was. I thought he threw it in an ungrabbable spot.
It did look like that. Well, it shouldn't be ungrabbable. You should be able to boost up there.
There's a hole behind it that's very easy for it to fall. I think it actually, there's no hitbox on it, so it can fall behind it. You could boost up. Either way, it would have been. I would have laughed at it.
Well, I don't think Team Solid Mid were laughing about what happened on long A. Again, it was eco, as Team Solid Mid now, in fact, have Cage and B on that AWP. And they're moving him to the long A. Device will watch for Flamey. He's pushing a little aggressively up into upper dark. But now he's just holding a little bit more defensively as NaVi going to try and look for a pick-off in mid. Some level of control. Cage and B's got a pretty easy spot just to turn that AWP around and catch out NaVi on Catwalk. But he'll need Carrigan as well there in case someone does come in with a machine gun at close range.
So here's the point I was making about having your op as the secondary player at A, because now if they come up cat and you have a rifle, you're not going to be able to hold over that wall unless you hit every single shot. But with Cajun B with the AWP, he should be able to pick them off one at a time if they don't smoke this accordingly on the elbow.
Well, where are these smokes coming? There's still a couple of them left. In fact, only Flamey is
Yeah,
holding
there you
onto
go.
his.
That's the smoke that I needed. The up close, I think that was actually intended for the drop, but that actually might work for them because, oh, no, Cajun B sees above it.
Not the perfect position then. Not the perfect one, but they do still have the bomb site. I should be careful about Sipnik. He's still down there in CT spawn. They've just lost C's. So short A is not as secure as they would have really liked. Guardian needs to try and find this pick off on long. The AWP's there waiting. He goes for the first peek. Cajun B, though, will get the upper hand. And now it's all up to Flamey on 9 HP. He's going to be dropped. And a flawless round for Team Solo Mid on their first buy.
And that's becoming more and more common. You look like guys like Skadoodle and Chris J. They both play on the ramp, peeking directly at the corner of the catwalk. What that does is allow the player that if you don't hit the shot immediately, it allows them to dodge and dart and shoulder peek you with the edge of the wall. By having a reverse angle like Cajun B plays there, which we're seeing a lot more people, Shock, Smith, they both do it, it doesn't give you anywhere to hide. If you want to take a step back and dodge the wall at long, they're going to take one more step out and you're still exposed. So it's a really strong angle.
This is a really big investment from NaVi. They spent everything they've got and they just lost Edward. They've still got double AWPs in for this NaVi side, but where are they trying to go? Like, there's a lot of noise being made in Upper Dark, but Zeus is waiting for that long A flanker to push through. While the rest of his team is over at B. Guardian's about to jump up to short by the looks of it. After he checks the mid, but the smoke is covering him pretty tight. So Zeus will pick up the bomb, and he's coming the way of short. But Cajun B's already backed up to the A site. So he's watching that first entrance, and who's going to be Flamey or Guardian that gets to have the first peek? He'll be Guardian with the AWP. This is going to be a big critical shot because there is really no other player for Team Solo Mid over at A. Sipnik is in a position where he could potentially rotate, but he still then has to come up through CT spawn, and C's is already going to shut him down. The flash, slowing down this NaVi push, 30 seconds left on the clock. Cajun B forced out by that Molotov. But you do still have Kerrigan looking for that cross. Cajun B picks up one, and they're being shot from multiple angles. C's is finally going to get rid of that damn pesky CT. Cajun B also going to drop Dupree. Last man left alive, 10 seconds on the clock. He knows there's one over on short. Needs to get this kill so he can just focus on the bomb planter. But sorry, too late. The plant's going to go down. C's will drop. And now it's Guardian on Dupree. The smoke is down, but it's not covering the plant area. Oh no, it's the close one. He's actually lost it. Guardian can't reach him in time. 1 second, the jump shot. He even misses that one. If he loses the AWP as well, which he will do so.
I have no idea.
Oh, why was that plant so covered?
I have no words for that. Seized came around the corner, got some good entries, worked over, but as soon as it was down to a 2-on-1 post plant, Guardian backed down catwalk and allowed a 1-on-1. Dupree had 2 1-on-1s essentially, not a 2-on-1 at all. So Guardian misplayed that massively.
That would have been okay if the bomb was on for the short plan. Then it would have been okay because then you fall back and just play the timeout.
That's the only explanation for why Guardian would have fallen back there is that he thought the bomb was on the other side.
Oh, NaVi, a little bit of a problem arises as Team Solo Mid get their second round. As I said before, it was rather expensive for NaVi. They are flat broke. After this buy, Cajun B is going to open up the account, so there goes Guardian. Edward still has this AWP available. He's coming back in towards mid, but Sipnix from the CT spawn is watching the push out. Takes out C, he's going to back the hell out of here. Get in as safe as he possibly can, or maybe not, just walk back out. Take out Flamey, throw the nade, tag up Edward, only for 7 HP, but it's enough. The flashbang, and now they're open up. Oh, nice turn from Edward. He would have been partially blind when he did that shot. But unfortunately, NaVi are in a choke point. They want to move back up through the double doors. They're being attacked by, well, it was Kerrigan, until Edward is able to get the pick off on him. So NaVi, it's a 2-on-3 situation. Edward's still looking for the advantage here in mid. But he's moving into an almost unwinnable situation. Dupree just jumps. The flash has blinded Zeus on the other side of the boxes. But it's not going to stop Dupree from killing him. And that goes 3-3. NaVi will be on eco this round. There is no choice. Well, actually, they could force buy, but to what, really? With 2.4k?
No, they won't. They can't. I mean, Tech 9 buy, sure. If you want to include that as a force buy these days, they've already got one on Flamey, one on Edward.
It might get you a breach somewhere. Oh, look at KGB. He's watching Suicide Spot. He waited it out.
He saw them drop down and was just waiting for that smoke to go off.
And Device's position, he's already called the fact that NaVi is pushing up through short A. So KGB rotates his rifle. Same with Zipnix. And it's going to be a slaughter on the cat. Edward, he's able to get the pick off on KGB. But down to 13 HP. Device gets flashed. But they should be able to recover. In fact, they will recover that second AWP. And, well, I suppose it could have been worse for NaVi on that eco. They did at least get themselves onto the side, even if they didn't get the plant. Force one gun drop.
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, and they didn't have enough hand grenades to get a kill, so unfortunately getting close to the site's not going to mean anything.
Sack is classic.
So they spot up 2 going over that time. Guardian tries to get that wall bang through the mid doors, but now they're going to execute on long, and for the first time ever, for the first time all game, they read this by some stroke of luck correctly because they went for a quick cat. Zipnix is going to get caught trying to push a little bit too far. Luckily, Cajun B goes back into Guardian, so that evens it up. And Dupree actually finds the lurk player in Zeus, and now it's all falling apart. Flamey drops today, so this actually looked like a horrible position for TSM to be in based on the fact they had no one long and 3 players were there, but they find the exact kills they need to get back into the round.
Man, Team Solo mid, these 2 AWPs, they're working overtime. Sure, Zipnix sacrifices his life, but he ensured the Guardian lost his. Well, okay, Kerrigan. A little of an aggressive push out. But Device has been really solid now on this long A. After KGB backed up, I say that, and KGB's going to get dropped. So we are on a 2-on-2. But you got 6 HP over on C's, which is not a healthy chappy. Edward does have 100. But Dupree's waiting for them to fall back and rotate out, while Device will give the call. So Device watching from down CT spawn. Where's that first one? He knows he only needs a body shot, and he gets it. Over on C's, Dupree's going to come up through short. And with the nade, Edward cupping a tag, and he's going to drop. Device doing it solo. Gets a 3-for. We're back into that situation where NaVi, it's almost the same as Inferno. They get the early rounds, and you feel, hey, NaVi's got some momentum. They're going to look good. And then Team Solo mid hit back on their gun round, and then they just keep holding round after round after round after round, getting better and better trades as time goes on. In fact, and NaVi's not finding these holes they're searching for.
In fact, I would almost say they look better at this point on Inferno because they got 3 gun rounds. At this point, they've only got the 3 rounds they got off the pistol. This is going to be your first fast B, but yep, it's only on Tech 9s, and like you say, that Molotov, so much damage. Dupree just holding the site, not letting anybody in, and Device chimes in with one of his own. That's your bomb down. So Zeus, again, off lurking in the distance, finds himself in a 1v5, and he'll run in very quickly to his own death. Might as well fire all 32 bullets with that semi-SMG.
I was waiting for our stat to appear up. There were over 9,000 bullets fired during that round. It's just so many. NaVi, that walk through the tunnels, it's... I know they're looking for team building exercises, walking over hot coals just to try and find trust in their teammates. But that point is not when you want to be building this new rosters team. It's that like teamwork, because it just looked dodgy. They stopped right on top of the Molotov. Dupree was smacking them back, mind you. Like that M4 was doing a lot of work. And this time they're actually going to get into the B site. Team Solomon actually let him have it because they're more worried about the mid where the smoke is. But C's going to have a look around the sides. He didn't get the kill. He had 2 players in front of him. He doesn't find the pick. Guardian's rotating over, looking towards the window. He's able to drop Kerrigan. But they need more of an opening. Zipnix just spamming through the doors. They know they've lost B. And Team Solomon mid, they're actually going to concede the round.
Yeah, and they've lost enough players that Device has 11-3 in his bank right now. But the rest of them are sitting on 3, 3, 2,
what did Zeus just do to himself?
I'm not exactly sure.
Did anybody see what Zeus just did to kill himself? No one else was involved. It was only Zeus kills Zeus.
Where's his body at right now?
You try and track it down, man.
Yeah, I was looking at the money situation when that came up.
I was watching the 2 AWPs trying to save on low.
He must have misthrown a nade. Because the only way...
But why would you even throw a nade at this point? The rest of Team Solomon are nowhere near you.
Yeah, there's 2 bodies at the door toward B, so there's no drop damage there. It must have had to have been a nade that was mislead.
It has to be. He can't knife himself. I doubt. I mean, you can imagine what would happen in CS:GO if you add bullet ricochets. Be watching that. What's that weird game that does bullet ricochets? Sudden attack.
Yeah.
God, that thing is so weird. Guardian. Unable to find that pick in mid. Karrigan as well as KGB. Very aggressive onto the long ace. They're not going to let him have it. And Dupree, he's already been fairly solid defending that that B site from upper dark. Just throwing down the Molotov again and waiting for NaVi to do the same thing. As in
someone in chat said he Molotov'd himself, which is entirely possible if he stood too close to the edge of it. He was low HP, so.
Right.
Speaking of Molotov, C's going to put one out. That's going to go through double. Try and hold Zipnix off toward the CT spawn, but really not a position that does much at all to thwart the defensive positioning.
They've still got three. Well, they just threw one of the smokes over towards upper dark. But Dupree, he's going to sit right inside it. But they got another 3 smokes available if they want to come onto A, which means you can smoke out Cage and B, even though he did shoot over the top of that smoke
and
last time.
He's in that position again. He's up on top of the car, so he'll be able to look to do that again.
Okay. Karrigan's not giving him long A.
There's your first smoke out. That's intentionally for CT spawn. So
Karrigan's
they could
about
drop
to get
if
2.
they want, but they're going to go on A. They've got 3 out toward long. And like you say, Karrigan's waiting.
Yep. That smoke's going to expose itself too early on. Karrigan getting flashed up, but he gets back in time to get the reload off, which means he might find a second, but then he get the crossfire. Both seized and Flamey, taking out KGB and Karrigan. There's a move up from Zipnix. He sees the bomb plant going down. It's a 3-on-3 situation as Dupree moves up behind Zipnix, so they're both on that ramp, waiting for Device to come up through short. Still a 1-1 trade-off, even if they do bring down the guy in the plant. Seized. He's moved all the way up through short. Starts to spray out. Device will drop. And Zipnik's in a really bad position. The round will go to NaVi, and they won't fall into the same pit that they were in Inferno. They're able to find more rounds on this T-half after losing the momentum early on.
So three things that really changed the way that round went. The first was the fact that Karrigan only got 1 player out of the 3 that came through long doors. He was forced to fall back over toward the backside of pit, which meant Cajun B, who didn't hit his first shot on Catwalk, then had to cover for him, and he was completely exposed from both sides. Once he dropped, Karrigan went as well. They went for a good boost on Elevator. That got them 1 kill in the site, but C's flanked back toward Cat caught both of the last players off guard, and Dupree had nothing left he could do. Speaking of Dupree, though, he starts off this round with Style Flamey down, and Edward's going to join him in the grave, so 2 men up already right now for TSM. Finally a response from Guardian.
Yeah, he lost half of his life to do that, though. These early picks from Team Solo Med really give him so much room to breathe. And forcing, like, look at NaVi's attack. They got, okay, well, they do open up long A, and they're coming over to B. Dupree, he's going to walk up through the smoke. He doesn't see Guardian. Guardian's going to get 1. He's running in like he's just got this in the bag, but he's going to walk directly into Device. He wasn't ready for that one now. The 2 AWPs are on Team Solo mid. They have to look towards the mid doors. Device jumping down very quickly. Both players going to miss their shots.
And this is questionable to run 2 AWPs when you're going to get pushed. They're split up. They have to hold off both bomb sites. You're going to get directly charged by 2 players. Device grabbed that AWP from tunnels. He may just switch back right now.
Okay,
he's going to keep it. They're comfortable with these.
Are they boosting? They're boosting up. And there goes Cajun B. Bomb plant for the exposed for the long. And Device, well, he can try and come back in through short. The Molotov's keeping him up. He grabbed an M4, so he's going to try and rush him here. And, well, that means now that NaVi can, if they want to, they can save both the AWPs, and they will, in fact, do so. Seas as well as Zeus holding on to them at the end of the round.
That was slow reactions from Cajun B. I think he was already pre-scoped at long when they went for that. So he missed that entirely. But NaVi's doing well late in the round. It's not necessarily pretty off the start. It's not textbook. Again, that round they lost too early, but they even it back up, and they actually took the right initiatives and right reads to get into the site that was most opportunistic for them. This time, Zeus is going to be the one that comes out long, but watch for Karrigan. He's pushed up all the way into the corner on the right side.
This is one of the very few times, too, that Team Solomon have been forced into a pistol round.
Cajun B and Zipnix are trying to push the issue at middle right now. Zipnix is all the way to the corner, the outside corner of Cat.
Like
They're going to use this flash, this team flash to come through. Cajun B gets 1. Guardian responds immediately, though, so they don't get any more than that.
Still giving them the time. Dupree's walked all the way up through lower dark, while Carrigan holding the long A. He's doing a large amount of damage, and he's actually going to pick up at least one. He won't get the second. Guardian's waiting for these mid boys to peek out. There goes his second frag. Can't find the third. But on a pistol round, Team Solo mid have forced us into a 2-on-2 situation. Device managed to grab an AK. So this won't be the easiest defense in the world, and they're running to Device. The man who owns the bigger gun is watching in through the first door, looks for the window, but Guardian's the one to get the kill. And we're in a one-on-one situation.
He's gonna peek this. So smart.
Oh, he missed a shot!
Still gets it with the AWP, though.
It's so dangerous, though, when you miss it with the AWP. But that 1 second when you're trying to get the bullet back into the chamber to get the second shot off.
I completely agree with the call to pick. He knew that he had to be coming from CT, or most likely would be. If he's up close, he tries to hold the plant. He gives away his length, his reach advantage with that AWP. Instead, he goes for it. But you're right. As soon as he missed that, that got a little bit hairy.
Yeah. But he had the confidence to peek twice. And now it's the advantage going the way of NaVi here on Dust2. 7-6 on the board. Team Solo mid are again going to commit quite heavily to this long. They've got the AWP of Cage and B there with Kerrigan's support. They've played this kind of combination almost 50% of their rollouts for CT. While Sipnix gets to hold a little bit further up on short A with the ability to drop down into CT spawn if required, while Device and Dupree, they're hugging the western corner of that B side. Device coming a little bit further out towards window now, and Zipnix in fact has dropped down. With the smoke covering up the CT spawn, he might be regretting he did this because he's hearing the footsteps and the gun changes on short, which is why Cage and B's moved his eyesight over to Catwalk. But it's all a trap. The push is coming to B. Dupree backing up. There's still the two players here, Divides as well as Dupree. One AWP, one M4. And NaVi say, well, screw that. Let's run away quickly and then come back in again. So they're going for the foot fake. That smoke is still covering him pretty heavily, and Device and Dupree aren't giving up on this. With Zipnix watching the mid, he's got to battle up against Zeus, who's practically blind. I doubt he's going to get the pick here. Cage will be making a lot of noise. Now Device to the front. Oh, careful of that team fire. And it's going to be enough for TSM to hold the lines. Really great cover. And that's going to be it. 7-7 as we'll go into our last round of the first half.
Great read on the rotation. So now we're into a position. Again, we look at TSM. Typically CT-sided, 7-7. This bodes well for NaVi, but back at X Games, I can't remember who they were playing. I'm struggling to remember. TSM had an excellent T-half on. I think it was actually against Fnatic in the bronze medal game. Don't quote me on that. But they had an excellent... The first time we actually saw Kerrigan bring a difference to the T side was on a map like Dust, so it's still possible they can do this, but this has all probability of going into 3 games. If they can get this 8th round, it would be even better. Guardian tries to start things off correctly, but that nade catches him because he stays too long looking for that shot, even though he'd been lagged up. Zipnix is going to find C's, but only after Device went down, so it's a one-man advantage right now for Team Solo mid, and 2 players right now for NaVi are up on Catwalk. Zeus is one of them with the bomb. Cage and B, but look at Kerrigan. He's already pushed out long. He knows they aren't there. The unfortunate part is he got there right after they went to either cat or lower, so he didn't get much positional awareness. Luckily, Cajun catches Flamey, and he's not done yet. Zeus going to get him, though.
Yeah, Zeus had to pick up the AWP of his fallen teammate, but now they know he's the last man left alive. Over on short. He's going to get the pick onto Sipnix with a jump AWP scope. The plant will go down. He can protect this from long if he's fast enough to get there. With the nade flying up, he's down to 77 life. He's being attacked from short. He knows there's one coming up through the ramp. The jump up, looking for the pick. Kerrigan's going to drop Zeus. Can he give his team the advantage going into the second half? And with a one-on-one situation, Dupree's waiting for that peek to come from Zeus. Zeus is waiting for Dupree to come up through the boxes. It's the only way he can approach. And he knows it. Up they come. But at the end of the day, it's an M4 on an AWP. He needed to get the first shot. Was unable to do so. And that'll give the round here to Team Solo mid.
And Zeus got timid. He actually had the start of that angle to his advantage. And if he just held it, if he had just waited, Dupree would have walked directly toward him. But he got a little timid, and when he backed off, Dupree had already rounded the corner when he went to re-peek him. So that gives the round to TSM. 8-7. Good half, I'm going to say, from NaVi. They actually looked a lot better, a lot more organized. Like I said, they had good reads of their opponents late in the round to go to the bomb sites that gave them a better chance. Remember, that came with a pistol win, too, so We'll see if they can get a pistol win here, get things off to another good start. But right now, again, I said it, it's Dust2, and this was the first map I saw Kerrigan really change things up for TSM way back at the end of January when they were still the Dignitas roster. So we'll have to see how it bodes for them. Guardian's already trying to get information at middle.
They're coming.
Into lower tons they go, and Dupree's going to hang around just to make sure. They've got to be careful because Edward and Guardian are both stacked in mid right now, so when Cajun B comes out toward the doors, he's going to have a welcoming party of 2 people.
But Dupree and C's, if Dupree can win this opening, they've opened up the B site. Cajun B is already moving back, which means this stack of 2 people is not going to run into Kerrigan. In fact, Guardian and Edward, they're still trying to battle up against him in the mid. Device needs to give him the cover fire to get out of that box. And with the smoke on the CT spawn, Zeus and Flame, there's not much more they can do here. Guardian and Ed would have to try and hold. Well, then again, Kerrigan and Device, they didn't try and push Sue into the cover of that smoke. Obviously, you're battling up against 2 players there before, but... yeah, no opening yet. It's just patience coming from Team Solo mid. They still got time, 45 seconds. Now they move out. Guardian's going to be the first one to scout it out. Edward scouted the mid move too, and he's already moving all the way back in there. As Edward and Zeus, they're both coming in. Where is that defense? Right now it's not there. Zeus and Edward just drop so quickly. The last player is coming up, Flamey. He goes for the flash. It's quite a high flash as well as a defense one from Team Solo mid, but they take the bomb site. And this will be momentum coming the way of TSM.
Zipnik owes Cajun B a beer because he actually had to take that fight in middle in order to allow them to get inside the B site. Instead, he backed off and went through tunnels. That allowed the second player in mid from NaVi to then take a 2-on-2 on entry for TSM. If Zipnix had to stay around, even if he lost the fight and delayed it, they would have had the site on a 2-on-1. Luckily, Cajun B found that kill.
Look at TSM go now. They want long. They want long, eh? Flamey and Zeus are there, try and get the defense. And Flamey's going to drop. Cease at least able to control lower dark. But Zeus, Guardian, and Edward are all falling back on the A side. They know the quick push is coming out from TSM. The smokes to give them the cover, so Zeus and Edward, they can't see anyone on the cross. It's not going to stop them from getting a 1-1 trade-off. But with these AKs moving up, I suppose Guardian does have this scout. They got the double scouts and Guardian as well as Edward. The smoke's going to wear off in a moment. Not the greatest position in the world here for TSM. As they try and go for the picks. They don't realize one's over on the side box. Now they will. As Guardian, but the plant, Cajun B, to put it down. Kerrigan, he's going on a very long rotation to come up through shot. I'm wondering if Edward's going to be able to hear him. I'm wondering if Edward's even going to be able to stay alive long enough. And the answer will basically be yes, because he does reach him in time. But NaVi getting caught on Cat. Curiosity about what was going on with TSM.
I say Cajun.
I say B. I say A, actually. That's where it was. Oh, man. So we have a pistol round from NaVi. I kind of want to say before we go further through this T, I just want to...
Stack at A, by the way.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I suppose there's no other job. Look at Cajun B. He's just running into the B side. It's like, yo, boys, there's an opening.
Yeah, I say Cajun, it's open at B. Let's get over here, boys.
Just move over. Then they can control the CT spawn. There's no way for them to come back apart from through shot. But Dupree, as well as Sipnix, are waiting here. Sipnix has really done a fantastic job of controlling the mid. And with that AK, they just wait for them to come up through short. Dupree takes 3 heads. Scalps of NaVi, claimed and hung on his wall. And the last 2 left from NaVi are in CT. They try and look over the top of the smoke. They'll at least get 1 player down for Team Solo mid. But where's the last? There it is. All right, so... battle was good. Battle was golden. Device throws away the scout. He's picking up at AWP now for the next round. And this is the 3 shots from Dupree. They did kind of line themselves up at the end there. But there was no other choice. They couldn't go through CT. They couldn't go through short.
The better play there was actually from Cajun B yelling out to his teammates that B was in fact open. Because if they'd gone much further around the corner, they were close to going the corner at A. They already had 2 players out from long doors. They would have run into 5 pistols immediately ready to take them down. So that could have gone pretty badly.
Gets the first frag. Can't get the second. Does tag up Zeus, and look how quickly NaVi moving back. But it's all a bait right now, because you got Zipnix moving in. Sees he needs to go big or go home. He managed to go slightly big, and has a ticket punched for home. There's a 2-on-2 situation. As Team Solo mid run the decoy. And now, They just have to hold the site from the retake from NaVi. Both players are going to come up through that mid area. Zeus and Guardian. Zeus to go window, Guardian to go doors.
Good peek by Device. He peeked just far enough to know there's no one in tunnels up close, so he has time to go back whether or not they're both coming that way. Even if a player was still tunnels, he had time to take that fight. Turns out they're both there, and look at the kill he gets for it. So 12 now for Team SM.
They're looking great here on the T's. NaVi aren't finding that same kind of coordination that TSM were able to find on their CT half. Because I still kind of feel like TSM, their CT half was amazing. They rammed these two pairs with Zipnik's the perfect floater in between them. And then there was nowhere to really breach in. There was always a crossfire for Team Solo mid. For NaVi, it kind of feels like they're playing these one-on-one battles, but it's also because TSM are doing things like this. You push through long, you get the early frags, and you're also winning the one-on-one battle. So Device and Zipnik's, currently they own the B site, which is kind of funny because KGB has just lost both of his players on the A, so he'll bring this in through Dark. Potentially he can just run it up through CT, but it's a little bit more exposed there. But this is NaVi where they just lose one of their flanks. It just crumbles apart, and then they're forced into these rotation retake positions. And they don't really have the weapons to do this. A Scout and an AK up against an AWP and 2 AKs. I know Edward's tagged. But yeah, they're not coming to fight this one. They let the bomb plant go down. And maybe, well, they can't even look for an exit frag. Not unless Guardian's going to move up to T-spawn. That's the only place he could do it.
Or CT if they exit mid, but I doubt they're going to. They're going to run back through tunnels at this point because they know they're saving on the A side.
Edward could watch that. He's got the Scout. Maybe he can get one pick up. But Guardian's already too late to get there. So the bomb plant will go off. Team Solo mid will take now this 20th round, making it 13-7. And money-wise for NaVi, they got enough for a buy. In fact, they got quite a lot of money for a buy. They're 6.4k over on Seized. So orbs are still available if they want to try and go for that. And in fact, they will. Seized just buys the orb straight away and gives it Guardian.
Question is Edward trying upgrade from this Scout? No, he's going to keep it. So we'll see how they use that to their advantage. Or at least attempt to. So once again, TSM, much like Inferno, although Inferno they had 11.5, so it was a lot easier. Haven't given up an offensive round yet tonight, which is very encouraging for a team like them.
Look how defensive NaVi is. Every single time on this long, they throw this smoke, which is closer towards pit.
Just to give you an idea, too, we talked about Flamey in the last map, how he actually played quite well considering the poor performance that they had. He's only got 4 this time, so not necessarily fitting into Dust2 quite as easily. And, of course, Dust2 relies a little bit more teamwork and dynamic play in terms of how it's such a spread out map, and Inferno's a little more linear and relies a little bit more on direct fights and peaks. So
yeah, and the early frags
play
he got were practically in the first 3-4 rounds of NaVi's T-Half on Inferno, and then it all kind of just fell apart anyway. But yeah, that's not the greatest thing you're looking at when you go 4-2-16. That's not a happy day. Especially when you're staring down the barrel of a 2-0. Well, Guardian will scout out that one rushing Team Solo mid player coming in through short. Edward tries to go for the peak with the Scout. Get tagged back a little bit himself. He does get a shot in. In fact, he's going to get an extra one. Dupree to drop.
Also gets a tag on KGB, so this worked out well. Lots of damage done from the Scout. To think if that had been an op, there would be hardly anyone left standing, but Kerrigan's still standing in middle and unsighted indeed, 2 for him, as KGB finds one more, but it's turned around by Zeus. The God of War says he wants to fight, and Kerrigan's going to take it. It's going to go directly into a one-on-one, and Zeus comes away with it.
Played it perfectly. He didn't hear the jump coming up through the window, so he knew it was going to come in through the smoke with the door. Saves the AWP, able to clean out the remaining TSM players that are on the B site. And NaVi gets some hope into this second map, where Team Solo mid were running away. There's still 10k on devices. Now he's going to buy up. So Team Solo mid still have enough money for one more buy here before they'll be forced into pistols. And NaVi, they're going to run a double AWP. This is a big all-in for them. There is not a lot of money left for them if they lose this round.
I totally called him the God of War, which he is not.
Yeah, because that's Hades.
Yeah. I'm going to let that one go.
Oh, Flamey! Flamey! That smoke, now you see why they keep throwing it every single time, because Team Solo mid thought they had an opening just to push in. And they went through the smoke, but didn't find the NaVi defenders on long A. And now it's all up to Kerrigan. He did some work in the last time. And he'll take out Edward now. But he's still up against... Okay, Peak. That's a bullet to the point where he won't father children. So 13-9. Na'Vi dragging it back. They still have to buy up. It was a high-risk play from them, though. Like, the positioning helped, like, really paid off for them. But to get both of the AWPs up, if you lost that round, they would have been staring at a 14-8, and they would have been forced into pistols for the next round.
Yeah, and I mean, then you're too far out. Then you're on 15. It's still, I mean, this gives them a massive chance. So
Zeus.
Start things off very well. That pre-smoke on the corner lets them come around a little bit further, lets them find some positioning that's a bit more aggressive. You can get into pit a lot easier. But look at this mid play. What is Zipnix doing? Just nades his teammates.
They didn't take any damage.
Do any damage.
They took no damage whatsoever as they breach into B. But, well, at this point, they do have it. The bomb site. It currently belongs to two players, Cage and B. I take it back. Cage and B is down. But the bomb plan is down there from Zipnix. He has to go 1-on-2 up against Zeus and Flamey. He takes one and almost takes the second. Only 28 HP left on Flamey. He'll get the defuse. He's looking for the AWP. He's going to grab that too. So Na'Vi now 10-13. These rounds have still been expensive. Mainly because they're losing so many players, so they have to keep on rebuying.
And this round was especially expensive because they actually had reset their money bonus about 3 rounds ago now, actually, as it comes out. And they lost a lot of players, which means they had to invest again. They were very low again, and then they invested more. They're just not building up the economy. With 3 in a row, they'll start to. But again, 4 players down. They're bought. They're still very fragile. Flamey, where he survives that time, has a bit more to work with. Guardian's already found one, though. That's Device.
Yeah, and that's something which Team Solid Mid cannot have happen at this point of the game. They need to find the numbers advantage. Cage and B, he's going to level it up. Bringing down Edward and lower Dark as now Carrigan, he gets the revenge onto Guardian for his fallen comrade. As Zipnix finds himself in a long A battle. Flamey not really coming off the best for wear for that one. It's also not going to help the fact that Cage and B has managed to take out that mid. Is he going to look left? The run out. Ooh, whoops.
A little team kill by Dupree.
Yeah, that's not part of the plan, Stan. So Na'Vi, luckily, find themselves in a 2-on-2 situation.
And we got to keep an eye on those little plays, those little miscommunications as we look for this retake now from Natus Vincier. Going to try and come through. Flamey's going to lead the way, but watch for those misplays because this will start to show if they're staying mentally in this or if things are getting a little out of hand, if Navi's finally finding a way to counter TSM, but Zipnix's not going to allow it. There's the first. Zeus gets one in return, but Dupree down below. Such a strong spot when someone's that close on the window. Closes out the round, and now it's 2 to go.
I'm really hoping Zero Gravity's not tuning in to hear how you just pronounce Navi's name.
It's okay.
It's so Western.
I mean, after how bad we butchered Greek mythology, both of us.
Hey, I didn't butcher it.
You
I
said Hades.
corrected you.
It's Ares.
It's Ares?
Yeah, chat corrected us.
Hades is the guy of the underworld.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Should have remembered that one. Guy with the blue hair. Never has to use moose.
It's okay. Things can only go down from here.
That's only if you follow the Disney version. Yeah, but not dispensary. Open it up. Seized. Scout. Takes out one. Needs a second. Zeus. There's Seized. He takes a second. And Team Solo Mid. This buy is not working the way they really hoped. It was a force buy coming out from Na'Vi. Slightly successful. They managed to rotate the AWP of Guardian over. And now it's just an absolute duck hunt. As Team Solo Mid get caught in the upper dark. And okay. Don't need to shoot around the boxes by the looks of it. Not with that scout. It just penetrates so deep.
And the thing is that TSM had just finally won a round. It got back into it. Now they lose back out, so it's going to be closer in the late part. But look at Na'Vi in return. They also won that round, and their buy is still not that strong. You've got a UMP-45 and 2 FAMASs.
Zipnix is on a mission from God.
There's Guardy again, this reverse angle. So strong against Catwalk because you control the peak and not the other way around. So first one's down already. They're going to try and bash their head against a wall and break through it because they have to try and take an up-close fight. And this is the only way they've got a way to do it. Guardian wants none of it. Nice shot by Dupree. At least puts him down in another one.
He's a third.
The Deagles are on point, but Flamey's on fire. And Dupree is extinguished immediately. So 2 rounds the difference.
Oh, man. That play from Zipnix, he basically just went YOLO. And I'm fairly certain the main goal there from Team Solo Mid was to drop him down into CT spawn, cause the crossfire when the others push in through the mid doors, and then have that last player pushing over on B, and then just take the B side. That was the plan from TSM, but obviously when you get snapped back by an AWP, things don't really work that way, so they just tried to commit themselves into an A push, which fell on its ass. But rightly so. You're up against AWPs and superior weapons, so... This time around, it's a little bit more balanced. It is Tukalil's 2 AKs as well as an AWP. And Karrigan's been given the mid. They'll let the AWP do the peeking for now. But there's no one showing themselves unless they look down to the CT spawn. Then you might be able to find one player. But Seeds is watching the crossfire. If Team Solo Mid can't find the pick here, I don't know if they abandon, if they just smoke up. Yeah, they're going to smoke up the CT entrance. Sees with a nice nade timing, taking 60 HP off Dupree, and he's also going to flag the fact they're all pushing up through mid. So sits inside the smoke, waits till they bump into him, and then shoots down the bomb carrier. Expended his entire clip, however, and this allows Dupree to come in through upper dark. The bomb is with them, but it's a 2-on-3 situation. Flamey's not a healthy chappy. So Team Solo Mid, they could potentially defend this. But NaVi is making their timing right. They let Zeus come up through upper dark, and they're trying to get the perfect cross. Dupree, first shots, able to do it over the top, and they do have the advantage. It's a 2-on-1. Zeus comes in close, got Famis in hand, takes out one, needs the second, and Zipnix moves outside to try and stall up the timer here. A 1-on-1 situation. The smoke is there, but Zipnix sees Zeus walk out of it. It's 15 rounds to Team Solo Mid, and they are 1 round victory away from taking this series 2-0 and getting themselves a spot in that winner's bracket final tomorrow.
And that's just a great hold by TSM right there because Dupree didn't want to peek tunnels. All he wanted to do was support Zipnix, who was at the doors. Zipnix found that, or pardon me, Dupree found that first kill. Zipnix pushes through. Zeus coming from tunnels. There's no one to be found. I did like what NaVi did to start the round. Actually, though, they played a sort of a reverse psychology play at A. They didn't go for that 3 long. They went 3 cat. As soon as mid was called, all 3 of them dropped and tried to get picks in reverse through that smoke on CT. Unfortunately, though, just a great play by TSM to hold the site.
C's finally able to level up the numbers a little bit, taking out one of those aggressive TSM players in upper dark. Device, if he has a little bit more patience. Nope, no patience from Device. Looks like Guardian's not going to peek from anyway. They put the smoke watching across mid, so Guardian can move in really, really close now. He can probably hear them running to a short A, and that's why Zeus is back on the site, and Flamey's holding from long. Cajun B a little bit late coming in here. The flashes, the Molotovs, they're forcing Zeus off the site. He's still sitting inside the fire. I don't know if he realized he just lost half of his life to that Molotov. Zipnix is the first one to get the kill, and second as well. NaVi have now lost A. They have to retake this. Well, they're into the lower bracket. Zipnix claims a 3-for. Cajun B's going to deny him the ace. And Flamey, the last man, the new man for NaVi, is the last one left alive. He'll have to pull out something magical out of a hat, and it cannot be a rabbit. He grabs one. That's Zipnix, the big man. The bomb is on the exposed side of A side. This time, it is the right reason to fall back on the short A. And tries to go for the defuse. Not going to work. And Team Solo Mid take Dust2 16-12 against NaVi.
And I think that a lot of that came down to NaVi actually didn't look too bad on the CT side. They changed things up accordingly. I mentioned that round where they went for that 3-drop through CT. What it came down to is the individual skill. They were outscaled tonight. The Danes were far more accurate with their shots. We saw in that hold, they worked together extremely well. Dupree and Zipnix in that case, holding off that site. And every time it seemed, aside from that team kill, obviously, every time it seemed like they were in a very tight position, they played off each other really, really well. Whether it was a flash, a smoke, or just a support firing hold like we saw in that case, and it worked great. Again, they responded very well on their own CT side. It was 8-7, a little closer than I would have thought, actually, for a team like them on CT. NaVi looked like they were going to get the lead, though, but they found the rounds they needed to slow them down at the right times. Yeah.
For me, I actually want to go back to something you were saying. It's the crossfire. It's the teamwork. That, for me, was really spot on for TSM. Yeah, there were some holes you were saying as well, and on Inferno, that was when NaVi came in. They exposed those holes and then took the rounds. But for the rest of the time, TSM always had someone backing them up, and I didn't feel that for NaVi. I mentioned that like halfway through our second half of Dust2, and I still felt it coming into the last point. It was just like, how are NaVi meant to function as a full squad? Yes, they still have Flamey coming in, so they don't have the perfect synergy, but still the other four, like, you could almost break it up the way that we did see TSM. They basically played in 2 pairs and said to Xyp9x, just do your thing in mid. If you get a kill, sweet. And we get the opening and we push through.
I want to go back to Xyp9x as well, because he was on the bottom of the scoreboard for the majority of that game until the latter half. I'm not sure where he finished. I didn't get to take a peek, but there was that one round I called where KGB bailed him out, where he was scared to take the fight at mid. He popped out the door, saw a guy, popped off 3 shots, didn't hit, and went the long way back, and that gave up some positioning to NaVi that they shouldn't have had otherwise. If he continues to do that, if he doesn't respond and come back into the game and get mentally strong again and have that confidence again, those sorts of things continue to happen. He's not going to get bailed out every time. But then we saw him in the late stages of the game when they went for that 3 retake when Zeus went around through tunnels and it was him and Dupree who held the site. He was manly enough to run directly through the doors and take down the player at window. So he definitely came into his own as the game went on. And I like to see that, because if a team gets mentally out of it and they don't find a way back, I'll give you an example. Cloud9. When they get behind the 8 ball, they never find a way to step up and get ahead of it again. And Xyp9x actually showed to me tonight that he could do that. So that was really encouraging.
Man, I love watching him. Can't wait to see TSM play tomorrow, but of course we have to see who they're going up against. That'll be our next matchup, as Markelov gets to go up against his former team, obviously from a long time ago.
A long time
I remember him as a NaVi boy. But the flip side, going up against, Fnatic.
Fnatic. I was wondering where you were going with it, but
I wasn't going anywhere with that one. I got
point.
myself confused. Fnatic going up against Flipside. That'll be the next one. Flipside coming through the open qualifier. We'll see if they've got what it takes to bring down, or at least get one map off the #1 team in the CSGO world. We'll find out after this break. Final area. Then he could get on top of this. They're waiting for it. And there's 1. There's 2. Oh, not again. And there's 3. Device will wrap it up, and Team Solo mid will take the CT side. CT spawn. Where's that first one? He knows he only needs a body shot, and he gets it. Over on C's. Dupree's going to come up through short. And with the nade, Edward cupping a tag, and he's going to drop. Device doing it solo. Dupree moves up behind Xyp9x, so they're both on that ramp, waiting for Device to come up through short. Still a 1-1 trade-off, even if they do bring another guy in the plant. Seed, he's moved all the way up through short, starts to spray out. Device will drop. Xyp9x in a really bad position. The round will go to NaVi. They're boosting up. And there goes KGB. Move 2, and he's already moving all the way back in there. As Edward and Zeus, they're both coming in. Where is that defense? Right now, it's not there. As well as Xyp9x are waiting here. Xyp9x has really done a fantastic job of controlling the mid. And with that AK, they just wait for them to come up through short. Dupree takes 3 heads.
The damage done from the scout. I think if that had been an op, there would be hardly anyone left standing, but Kerrigan's still standing in middle and unsighted indeed. 2 for him as KGB finds 1 more, but it's turned around by Zeus. The God of War says he wants to fight, and Kerrigan's going to take it. It's going to go directly into a 1-on-1, and Zeus comes away with it.
Played it perfectly. Yeah, but not as center. Open it up. Sees. Scout takes out 1. Needs a second. Zeus, there sees. He takes a second.